Oh, here we go. Power button's up here. It's odd that it's on the Scout 101 there. The button is on the, yeah, no, sorry. The button's on the engine. This here, we just have a standard button here. That's all new though. This is just a new take on the Sport Chief. We're in neutral here. All right, lots of options here, but we're just gonna ride. All right. Oh. All right, so getting used to this friction zone where this clutch lets out. We just rode the Scout 101, and that thing, you really have to give it throttle as you're letting out the clutch, because it wants to stall out really easily. But we're gonna have some fun here on the Indian Sport Chief. This model was introduced a couple years ago, I believe, and been wanting to ride it because I've ridden other versions of the Chief. Okay, there we go. Yeah, figuring this out. Ooh, I like the sound. Ooh. Oh, all right. So we're already in sport mode, and I think we're going to leave it here because I'm not exactly sure how to navigate this ride command. And yes, go ahead and give me crap about not knowing how to work the electronics. I'll take that. That's on me. But we're gonna spend our time here in sport mode. Ooh, it's a good sound. The Sport Chief, surprisingly to me, one of the things that I was surprised about on the Sport Chief is that it's heavier than the standard Chief. Now you've got a bunch of extras. You got a fairing. We've got risers here. On the other versions of the Chief, I know there's the like the little mini hangers. Oh yeah. All right, I like this bike. There's a good amount of vibration. This is something that I'm just noticing right off the bat, is there's a good amount of vibration as you ride. And for some riders that are coming from like a super smooth cruiser, maybe like a BMW R18 or you know, most of the Milwaukee 8 motorcycles in the Harley Davidson lineup are pretty smooth. The new Road Glide, the new Sport Glide, the new Street Glide, really smooth. This one has that old school rumble and the handlebars, and I gotta say, as somebody who's ridden, who's owned four different Harleys, it feels Harley-esque in that rumble in the hands, and I kind of like that the nostalgia that brings back. So nice. This color is actually pretty awesome. Let me see if I can. Smoky quartz metallic pearl. That's a mouthful, but I mean, it's a pretty sick looking color. The display here. Now, what I'll say about this display, and I'll just say it one time and I won't come back to it, is that I believe they don't want the display up close to where the top of the fairing is, so they've lowered it here instead of it being up here on top of the riser. I don't know also for engineering of how they get this display here, if it just works out better. But with a full face helmet, my Ruroc Atlas has a pretty wide viewing angle, and I do have to drop my head a little bit to see the display. So, you know, it's just one of those things. On the Lowrider S has the display right at the top of the riser, and that, for me, that's kind of the ideal spot, I think, for the display to be. If you're talking about visibility and not having to take your eyes off the road, that's where I think that's where I'd like the display to be. Oh. So, all right, so we got pretty standard controls here. All right, now right off the bat, sport mode is gonna get you in trouble. That's one of the things I'll tell you. If a bike feels really aggressive right out of the clutch, you drop that clutch and you let that clutch out, and it just pulls, and it wants to go fast. This is one of those bikes. I don't have horsepower and torque. I don't believe that there's a horsepower number specifically for the Sport Chief, but there's torque numbers. I believe it's 125 pound-feet of torque. Oh, I could have taken that better. Didn't gear down. I've got the stupidest grin on my face right now, if you could see it. So impressions, like this is a ride by the seat of my pants kind of review. This is kind of the way that I do things, because I know what the route's going to be. I hate that we're not hitting these green lights, but it's giving me an opportunity to get off the line again, and it is really fun off the line. Here we go. So just impressions. The seat has a really grippy material, and it cups you, cups your rear in place, so that you can really be aggressive on the throttle here in sport mode and have fun and not feel like you're gonna slip off. It's got this solo saddle that's got a really nice gel-ish feeling, and makes it so I feel like you could ride this thing for a long time just with the stock saddle. I know a lot of riders will, it's one of the first things they'll do is swap out the saddle so that they can go for longer rides. But I think if you're not looking to ride with a passenger, this saddle is going to be pretty nice. So I thought maybe at the higher speeds of the counterbalancing of the, I think this is a 116 Thunderstroke engine, might be a little smoother, but you still get that continuous rumble in the hands, and it just feels nice. I'm telling you, if you want that old school cruiser rumble, this bike is gonna be nice for you. And the exhaust note is really nice. It's beefy, burly, just I think how you would want it. The Sport Chief has the upside down telescopic front forks, not adjustable in the front, but we have the Fox rear shocks that are adjustable in the rear, and this riding position is actually very comfortable. I don't feel like, in comparison to a Harley model, the Lowrider S, where I don't feel like my knees are super squished here. This is a really comfortable riding position, and I think combined with I think it's just above 30-degree lean angle, that it's going to be plenty. It's going to be plenty of lean angle for you to lean into turns. But like I said, the odd thing about this is because I think of all the extras that this bike has, it's actually heavier than the standard Chief models, which, you know, for me, like a sporty performance cruiser, you want to me, one of the big things would be to shave weight. What I will say though is that I don't really feel the weight here while I'm riding. It doesn't feel, because I believe this bike is over 600 pounds, closer to 700 pounds, and it still feels, you know, for a cruiser, pretty nimble. The way that they've engineered this bike, the way that it's balanced, it just feels nice. It feels very confident in a turn, very maneuverable, and you know, say what you will and make your comparisons between Indian and Harley Davidson. Those big fat back tires on the Harley Davidson, I'll have tire specs here for you on the screen. Sometimes the bike really just wants to stand back up. So even though they might turn fairly well, it wants to stand you back up, and I'm not feeling that from the Sport Chief here. This has been, I think, because I've ridden the Chief Bobber, and I've ridden the standard Chief. This has been my favorite one, kind of by a long shot. Let's put this thing in standard mode. This screen, I'm starting to think that the Scout 101, there was something wrong with the screen that I was on. We're just going to try it out in standard mode here, and see how it pulls, see how it feels in this standard mode. I like going this way because I get a few more turns in. When I go this way, it's a little more curvy. Oh, yeah. I feel like this thing just wants to lean. Oh, yeah. Yeah, brakes, and it's got ABS, and the ABS is really nice. I could feel that the brakes wanted to lock up here. It's kind of a hot day, and they did not do that. So maybe you're trying to decide between the Sport Chief and the Scout 101. I can see that kind of being you going back and forth about that. They have similar power. I think that the sporty look on the Scout 101 is cooler. You know, that's subjective. That's not an objective thing. This is a $21,000 motorcycle, so you're gonna save yourself, you know, a little over. I think a little over, or close to $4 grand. So you're gonna save some money if you go with the Scout 101. But I'm gonna tell you, if I have any sway, and how you feel about that. Oh, you're kidding me. Thanks Toyota Sienna. No ill will. Okay, I'm gonna say if I have any sway and you can swing it as far as your budget goes, check out the Sport Chief. This is probably my favorite Indian cruiser that I've ridden, and frankly, you know, I rode the FTR. I've ridden a few of the touring bikes. The touring bikes are just, you know, they're touring bikes, so they're heavy. Even though they have a considerable amount of power, the touring bikes have, you know, they have their place and their use. This is, I think, my favorite Indian motorcycle that I've ridden. It comes in some really sick and slick looking colors. It's got a more simple setup here with the controls here, which I like. And you know, you can call them, I'm 44 years old, so you can say I'm old, which sure, yeah, I am getting up there, but the simplicity, you know, I like it. And also, you know, obviously simplicity in the controls here is gonna change, because as you get more comfortable, you're gonna figure out where things are and it's gonna become easier. But I just, you know, these control modules that that house all the buttons, it's larger also, so you've got more, the buttons are bigger, and it's easier for my fat fingers to find what they need to find without touching another control. Yeah, this bike is just, for the weight of this motorcycle, and I know I mentioned how it's weird that the Sport Chief is heavier than the standard Chief. Both bikes don't feel like they're the actual weight that they are, because they're very well engineered, they're very well balanced. But this bike, it just feels like I can throw it around. And like I said, oh, let me let this guy through. Like I said, that can get you in trouble. And if I had this bike, I might get into some trouble. I mean, look at this gold flake, you guys. This is beautiful. 120 foot-pounds of torque. I think I said 125. 6-inch risers. This solo saddle is awesome. These KYB inverted front forks. The suspension on this bike also lends well to the handling, but also it's comfortable. It's a comfortable ride. You know, these roads are not great here in Northern California. I'm feeling like it's handling it well. So even though this is probably this front suspension is tuned for performance and probably a little tighter than the standard forks, the telescopic forks on the standard Chief, it's still a very comfortable ride. And the Indians found a good balance here with performance and comfortability, for sure. This windscreen here, this front fairing, you know, a lot of the times it's just for show, but actually you can see there's little cutouts in the front fairing. It's doing a good job of pushing the air around me without any buffeting, which is why I kind of love these smaller windscreens above you know, the big fairings. There's zero buffeting, but also it's just cutting right through, so I'm not getting any wind resistance that I feel like I need to hold on even tighter in both directions. We went both both directions. We went all four directions. It's not a windy day, but still, I have never felt on this motorcycle like wind is an issue at all. And my helmet, like I said, I wear a Ruroc Atlas helmet. It's a fairly quiet helmet, and this is making it so it's an even quieter ride, I think. Just all around, great marks on the Indian Sport Chief. you know, I go in to these rides, these test rides, and want to make a balance and a fair review. And I try to be fair, and I try to speak my mind, but I'm trying to find a fault or trying to find something maybe to criticize or say that I don't like about this motorcycle, and you know what, I just can't. Even these mirrors, the design, and the length of these arms, how they come almost pretty much all the way to the end of the handlebar. Hardly any obstruction for my shoulders. I can see really nicely. What I will say is, obviously, because of the shake on the handlebars, once when you're accelerating and they're shaking, I don't know if you can see it in the video, it makes it hard to see. And you'll find that if you talk to any Harley rider or anybody who's ridden an old V-twin, that makes these rear view mirrors pretty much useless when they're shaken, so that you really can't see much. But yeah, there's nothing to complain about this bike. We're coming to the end of the ride. If you have questions and I haven't answered something about the Sport Chief that you have, make sure you leave those questions in the comments. I will do my best to answer them, and if I can't, I will hunt that down answer for you. Yeah, hunt that answer down for you. But guys, if you like this video, you found it helpful, found it entertaining, make sure you hit that thumbs up down there, which is the like button. And if you haven't already, smash that subscribe button. Everyone, if you're out there riding, please be safe. Be kind to one another. My name is Eric. I'm that one guy, and I am out.